Alright, so welcome back to the channel, and this video is going to be shot using Inventor. So if you're one of those 3D lovers that likes seeing me work in Inventor, go ahead and stay tuned. Let's get started. Alright, so once you have Inventor open up, let's see, we're going to go ahead and start by clicking the new button here. That should bring open a dialog box for us, and then we're going to have to specify which are the units that we're going to use. And in this case, I will be using the standard millimeter template, so I'm just going to double click on this one. And remember, you can always single click on it and go down and hit the word create. And this is one of those things that if it's your first time opening it, Inventor, or if it just takes your computer a while, it'll take a little bit. So let's go ahead and pause, and we'll click back on here in a second. Alright, so when Inventor is opened up, you should have your ribbon set like this, and you should also have a browser sitting here to the left. So the first thing we're going to do is start a 2D drawing here. So I'll go ahead and select here, and then it should ask you what plane you want to create it on. I'm going to select the XZ plane here, and so I'll select somewhere along here. Give it a second, it should spin and rotate. Now you'll notice that depending on where you select on that plane, it's going to kind of rotate your screen to that. So you see that I clicked kind of to the back and upper right to it, and it kind of rotated that way to the right. But I'm just going to click this icon here to rotate it here to the left. Alright, so I'm going to start off by creating my base of this one, and I'm going to use a rectangle, and the one that I'm going to use is going to be a 2-point center rectangle. So I'll select here. First thing it always asks is, hey, where's the center at? And if you're looking for the command line in Inventor, it's down here to the bottom left. So you can see where it says select center here at the bottom. Let's select here. And then we're going to kind of pull out and kind of give a preview of what this is. Now you can type in the numbers directly, and that's what I'm going to do in this case. So I can type in 100. Then go ahead and hit the tab button. And then it'll ask you for your other dimension. In this case, it's going to be 50. And so I have both of those numbers already set for me. Go ahead and escape out of this. Let's go ahead and hit the finish. And then what we need to do is that we need to extrude this, right? So I'm just going to take a look at it, hit the extrude button. It should automatically pick that one profile that it has. So it should be nothing to worry about there. We just need to give it a height. In our case, this will be 15. And then I need to decide how I want this to go in reference to that plane. So right now it's extruding up. Remember, we can extrude down. We can split it, or we can go asymmetric, which means I can go 15 on the top and maybe 3 on the bottom. So, but in our case, the overall height of this is going to be 15. And I'm just going to leave it going in the down position here. So I'll select this second icon. And that way I'll have my center plane running right on the top of that face. Let's go ahead and hit OK on that. Next, let's go ahead and start creating a sketch right here on the top. So I'm going to select here, and then I'll select this last icon with the green plus on it. I'll go ahead and create a sketch here. Once again, it rotates to that original kind of rotation that I did here in the first part. But I'm just going to select here. And then I'm going to start creating the top profile that I need. And here is where I have to decide, am I going to create both of those sketches here? Or am I going to create one of them and mirror it? Either option will work. Which one of them is better, that's kind of be up to you, if that makes any sense. But the way I'm going to do it today is that I'm going to create one sketch here, and then I'm going to extrude it, and then I'll come out of the command, and then I'll mirror it, my extrusion, as opposed to mirroring the sketch. So I'm going to start off by drawing a line from this endpoint. I'll go up to here. I'll come over, kind of come down at an angle here, and then I'll finally come from this endpoint to this one. Okay. Let's go ahead and put some dimensions on this. So I'll put a dimension. And here's another thing that you see, that sometimes you'll have a couple of different lines here, but if you sit here on it for a little bit and you give it a second, it'll pop open this little quick access window where I can select different things here. Another option that you can do, if you don't feel like waiting for that window, you can always come on this line and do a right click and then go to the word select other, and then it'll bring up this box a lot quicker for you, right? So the sketch that I'm looking for is the one that's in red right now, the one that's going just on that short part. So I'm just going to select that. I'll click here and give it its number of 35. And then I'm going to put a dimension here along the top. This one will be 20. Let's go ahead and escape out of here. And then it says that I need one more dimension, and I can kind of see from the picture here that this top line is really not on this one here. So I can left click and drag this down, and you can see that it is not actually attached to this top line. Let's see if we can do that with the collinear constraint. So I'll select collinear, select this top line here, select that edge, and hit escape. And now it looks like we had everything that we need. It's fully constrained. If you want to be a little bit more accurate with this, I can select both of these lines here, do a right click on them, and then make them construction. But in this case, it really doesn't matter if you do that or not, because we have an opening here, so it wouldn't select that on the next level. Let's go ahead and finish the sketch. Let's go and take a look at the extrusion. And then we have to tell it how high we want this to go, right? So I'm going to send this going in the up direction a distance of 35. So once I do 35, it should send it up that way. And it's also going to be united to my current base here. So that's that option here at the Boolean option. Go ahead and hit OK. What I'm going to do now is what I was telling you before. So inside of the sketch, I could have mirrored that sketch and then extruded them both here. There's another option, and I'd just like to give you other options to use just in case if you want to do something differently. And in this case, this little peg here is what I'm going to use to mirror. I'm going to use the mirror command here, which tells me that this is a mirror, and if you want to think of it as a mirror feature, that's more or less what it is. So I'm going to select this feature that I just created. I'll go to mirror. What it should automatically do is automatically select that feature. Now I need to figure out what plane is going through. If I kind of look at my UCS, I'm looking for the YZ or ZY plane. I can't remember which one it's going to be called. So if I expand here and I go and I take a look for the YZ plane, that will be my middle plane. So I'm going to select that as my middle plane. You can see that it gives me a preview of what's about to happen. Then I'll hit the OK button, and it should put the other one on the other side. Okay? All right. Finally, the last step we're going to need to do here is going to be to go ahead and put a chamfer on both of these edges. So I'm going to go to chamfer. And in this case, it's not going to be the same distance. It's going to be two different distances. So I'm going to select this icon here. Distance 1. Let's go ahead and make it 35. Distance 2. Go ahead and make it 50. Doesn't matter which order you put them in, right? So when I go ahead and select this one, and then here, you can see that it was actually correct. If it wasn't, just go ahead and flip your numbers here. All right, so once we have that, and it's correct, it's created in the correct orientation for us, let's go ahead and hit the OK button. And now we're actually finished with this whole entire shape, right? So the next thing we're going to do is create a drawing, and the drawing in here should be really simple. But remember, in Inventor, before we get to the drawing phase, we always have to do a save. So I'm just going to select the save icon here. And then I always give it the name. And I think I've been using, let's see, part 1. And that should be fine. So we'll go ahead and use the part 1. Go ahead and hit save. It's going to ask me, do I want to overwrite it? But if I gave it just a regular name, like something else, then it wouldn't come up with this step. So let's go ahead and hit the yes button. And now we're able to create a drawing. So I'll go ahead and select the new. Come here. I'm looking for a standard, the ANSI millimeter IDW, right? So I'm still underneath my metric, and I'm going to look for this one. Last time I double clicked on the icon. In this case, I'm just going to select here and then hit the create button. And then we're going to give it a second, and it should automatically open up into the drafting portion of Inventor. Another thing you're going to see me do whenever this loads up is that I never set up my dimension styles until I'm actually done, right? So I always save mine for when I'm done. All right, so we're looking at a D size drawing here. I'm going to change this to a B size. So where it says sheet 1, I'll go ahead and do a right click on this, and then I'll go down to edit sheet. Once edit sheet appear, we will adjust the size of this to a B size. All right, and then we're going to hit the OK button. It automatically jumps this down. Let's go ahead and get rid of our title block here. So I'm just going to select this ANSI large, do a right click on it, and then delete it. Okay, next let's go ahead and put in our views. So I'm just going to go with the base view. And it should automatically start off with my front view. So I'm just going to click it here. Then I'll click the top view above it here. Click the right side view here. And then I'll go ahead and put an isometric in the corner by selecting here. Once I hit the OK button, all of these views should appear. And then we have to decide on kind of what do we want to do with this view. Do we want to leave it this color or do we want to have it shaded? For this one, I'm just going to leave it alone. Let's go ahead and put all of our dimensions on. So I'm just going to jump to the annotation tab. We don't have any center marks or holes or things of that nature, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's go ahead and put the dimensions on. So I'll go to dimension. And I'm going to go from that endpoint to this one and place it here, right? Now, unlike AutoCAD, is that if I wanted this dimension to be on the outside, remember that I'll click this endpoint first and then followed by this one. Well, Inventor works backwards from that, right? So if I want to put just in case if it does pop out there, I have to select this endpoint first to this one, then I'll select this dimension. So we're lucky in this case it didn't want to pop out or I had to go out to the outside. So I'll start from the outside in, and then I'll place this dimension here. Okay, let's go ahead and put our next dimensions. We're just going to put a dimension from this endpoint to here. Likewise here. I'm going to put a 15 dimension here. Okay. And we'll go ahead and adjust this. Like I said, don't get caught up on if something doesn't look right. Just go ahead and knock out your dimensions now. And then we'll go ahead and put them on or fix them here in a second. All right. So that's all the dimensions that we're going to need. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and adjust the style of this. And remember, we have to come over to Manage. And then we'll click the Style Editor. And this is going to be one of those things, again, that takes a little bit long time to start if it's the first time that you click on this button. So we'll give it a couple of seconds here and it should open up with another dialog box. All right, so once this box appears, you see that we're on the standard style here. What I'm going to do is go ahead and expand the dimension one. And you can see that it's telling me that the standard is the ANSI millimeter, right? So I'm just going to come down to here and I'm going to select this millimeter one. Once I come here, then I'm going to go to the Display tab. I'll come back to the other one here in a second. Let's see. Is it not in the Display tab? I thought the one that I was looking for is in that one. Okay, no, it's in the Text tab. So I'm going to come here and select in the Text tab. And then these are going to be how I'm going to select and make my dimensions horizontal, right? So I just went ahead and adjusted those. Let's go back to the Units tab here. And then with these trailing zeros, I'm just going to go ahead and turn them off. I'll go ahead and hit the Save and Close, and all of your dimensions should automatically update. And if we take a look at them, they are actually done for us, right? And that should be all that we have to this one, right? Really simple part to create. There are no holes or anything of that nature in it. So, you know, really easy, very simple, and hopefully you kind of understood how the chamfer command worked. And I tried to introduce another one of those other features like a mirror feature to it, right? So hopefully you enjoyed this video. This is a nice, short, and quick one. And until the next time.